Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm continuing The Last of Us Part 2 as Abby, so let's not waste any time and dive back into it. After the game blue balls us in the theater, we take control of a young Abby searching for her father in the woods. She falls down and butt bombs the mud, which attracts the attention of her dad Jerry, who is stalking a pregnant lady.
She's due any day now. We'll just check on her and then we'll head back.
We follow him only to be called out on her crush on Owen, but the Orphan of Kaz left its right hand behind, interrupting that awkward interaction. We hear distant pained yelps and approach the trapped zebra. Jerry gets flagged for holding just in time to get the zebra loose and back to its baby. Owen arrives to inform Jerry that a girl arrived at the hospital with a bite mark and no signs of infection. We arrive at the hospital where Jerry talks to Marlene about the cost of removing the fungus from Ellie's brain and faces stern opposition to the death of someone she holds dear. Jerry believes Ellie's death is justified as it's necessary to create a vaccine that can save the rest of humanity, but Marlene isn't so sure. She asks him a question he can't answer easily.
If this was your daughter, what would you do?
But he doesn't have to, because she barges in before he can, and after Marlene leaves to break the news to Joel, Abby says she'd want him to do it if it were her. We take control again and go down that long familiar corridor where we enter the operation room with Owen and Manny standing over her dad's corpse. Abby erupts into hysterics in an awesome performance by seasoned actress Laura Bailey, who worked with Naughty Dog previously on Uncharted. While Abby is voiced by Laura, her appearance is based on a combination of Colleen Foch and Jocelyn Mettler. We segue from one heartbreak right into another as Abby stands over Joel, and just like that, we're given her justification for torturing him. This time, we get Abby's perspective as her group argues over killing Ellie, and while Owen wants to spare her, the others don't. But Abby has the final say here and says no. The game does a hard reset as we rewind to Seattle Day 1, where Abby is jolted awake by Manny. I was able to avoid all spoilers for this game despite it being leaked months before release. So imagine my surprise when we basically get a whole other game playing as another character. We follow Manny in the WLF home base until we enter the cafeteria. Hey Jordan, what you playing?
Nice to see you too, Abby.
Oh shit, Jordan, I didn't see you there.
Fuck yeah, dude, we got burritos before we go out on patrol. But Manny tells us Mel is coming with us, and based on Abby's reaction, that's going to open us up to some awkwardness, which is honestly welcome amongst all this violence. We proceed up the stairs where we see a championship photo of Seattle's football team, which is odd because I'm pretty sure that Super Bowl was canceled. We grab our bag from our room and the three of us head down into the lower levels of the stadium the Wolves have made home. Before we leave, we pick up good girl Alice and then play with her penmate for a little while. Then we grab some firepower, the keys to a car, and climb into the back of the truck and take off. Abby and Mel exchange a few words before they're ambushed by the Seraphites, and I accidentally dome this horse, earning myself a double kill, and then follow that up with 9 more. The windshield is engulfed in flames, which blinds Manny and causes us to crash by a nearby warehouse. We clear out the building to make it safe to traverse, adding 6 infected to the count. Eventually, we find our way out, but right after Manny and Alice get through, the crank breaks, which gives us some alone time with Mel. Abby cuts right to the chase, asking Mel why she's been avoiding her. Mel simply says Joel's torture and Jackson shook her, making Abby a little defensive.
What kind of a person could do that, right?
We climb right out of that conversation to the catwalk above, which triggers Abby's fear of heights we saw at the beginning of the game. In a cool detail, if you look straight down at the ground, you'll notice the camera change to reflect the vertigo she experiences as she visibly shakes in terror. Eventually, we jump down into a train yard occupied by scars that I eliminate with Manny's help. Directly after that fight concludes, we enter another one in the gas station above the train yard. I kill another 6 scars before backup arrives and saves us from being overwhelmed. We arrive at another WLF base to meet up with their leader Isaac. There's a lot of people hanging around, driving suspicions that the WLF are getting ready for something big. More on that later because Nora needs our help.
I need some muscles.
Baby, I got plenty of that. Nora lets us know she'll be relocating to a hospital but wants to show us something first. We enter a morgue filled to the brim with wolf bodies, but Nora wants to show us one specifically, Owen's patrol partner Danny. Abby shows some concern and requests more details, but Nora claims none were given to her by Isaac, so we continue our search for him. Finally, we find Isaac, who's in the middle of tickle torturing some guy. We take the elevator up to learn that Isaac plans to invade the Seraphites' home island with the intent on wiping every single one of them out. Abby and Manny are to lead the attack, and Abby not so discreetly asks for Owen. Isaac, played by Jeffrey Wright, sees right through it, knowing damn well Nora talked, and reveals that Owen shot his fellow wolf. Abby has denied her request to get Owen on her team, but she doesn't accept that answer, saying she knows where he'll be. We flash back 3 years prior, where Owen is being a real douchebag rocking the pod on the the Ferris wheel and laughing at Abby's anxiety. That thing hasn't been serviced in 20 years, bro, so fuck off. Whoa, not like that. Abby dives in after him, temporarily forgetting her fear of heights, and they swim to the nearby aquarium. It's been long abandoned, showing signs of a family once living here, but they eventually had a falling out. Abby mentions the scars and wonders why anyone would join with them, when Owen offers a counterpoint that perfectly captures the game's plot, stating that depending on your perspective, certain groups can be seen negatively. The Fireflies blew up checkpoints and killed soldiers, but Abby brushes that aside, saying they were naive, whereas the Seraphites are just plain crazy. Nothing in this game is black and white, which is why we get to play as Abby in order to understand her actions from her perspective. Her and her little braid get crazy with Owen in the company of a seal, but it's not a kiss from a rose because she pulls away.
It's this, isn't it? You are disgusted by it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, Owen, but it's mostly her dad's death that haunts her. She wants to make training in order to properly prepare for her future encounter with Joel, and leaves Owen at the aquarium to beat one out in peace. We cut back to present day where Manny helps Abby get out of WLF territory to begin her search for Owen. We enter the buildings up ahead, and as we're minding our own business, shuffling between the small space, a clicker rounds the corner in a jump scare. It falls on top of her, but we kick it off and murk it, wasting my perfectly good silencer. I'm off to a wasteful start as I overthrow a couple pipe bombs before eventually hitting one runner and then saying fuck it and unleashing on them with my rifle. The next area can be bypassed, but it has a lot of loot, and in order to get a safe combination, I kill a couple clickers and some runners before moving on and into a larger arena that has us take on numerous scars with a sniper up top. I start this sequence out stealthily before giving up on that and loudly killing the remaining scars and continuing forward into a ruined building and killing all 13 enemies inside. We exit and slide down this hill, only to be ambushed by a woman that's even larger than Abby is. She's able to Mike Tyson her way out from under her, but more show up to restrain her while another makes it hammer time. That concussion sends us back 4 months ago. Abby meets with Owen at the aquarium where he shows off his renovations and mentions a rumored Firefly regroup down south in Santa Barbara. We're not here for that though, we're here to destroy Owen and Mel's high score and force him to write our name on the leaderboard because Mel will be super happy to know his ex-girlfriend was here. We go upstairs where Abby tells Owen she received information about Tommy's location out in Wyoming, and despite his reasons against going, she's adamant about it.
It's a lead. I gotta see it through.
We're back in present day again, with a couple Seraphites dragging Abby to her execution. They don't do it quickly either. Instead, they string her up by a rope and intend to spill her entrails out first. Luckily for us, there's an interruption as we get a front row seat to some scar drama.
Clip her wings.
They're just as brutal to their own and deserve what they get. Abby saves the girl from being shot, and just as she's about to break her neck, she takes a hammer to the head. Holy fuck. The bucket is knocked out from under her, but the two Seraphites, Yara and Lev, cut her down in time to fight the incoming infected. Naughty Dog's transitions from cutscenes to gameplay are perfect as we get right into the action and go toe to toe with stalkers. I kill 5 of them using the hammer until Abby goes insano mode and breaks it. We team up and go on the run because these woods are stalker central. Yara gets tackled, initiating another fight. I kill 2 before being brought to the ground and bashed to death for the first death of the game. I reload and take another 3 stalkers out, but more are coming for us, so we outpace them and finally escape. However, another beast is awaiting us. Abby gets pissed that She-Hulk is wearing her backpack, so after a couple rounds, eventually we steal her hammer and god damn, Abby! Abby remarks on the scar-on-scar crime she just witnessed, and Lev said it was simply for shaving his head. We'll get more details on that later because finding a safe space is more important right now. After grabbing some supplies, a few runners rush us. I claim 3 of them while Lev gets the others. We enter a ruined building with more infected inside. I loudly kill 1 to lure the rest to us so we can pick them off from the safety of the 2nd floor. Eventually we drop down, and with the doors blocked, Abby helps them climb over, but before they can release the barricade from the door, more infected rush in, allowing me to add 12 more to the count. Just when it seemed like they abandoned Abby, they pop up through the ambulance window and bring her to safety. Abby picks a struggling Yara up and carries her to a trailer located nearby, where we see her broken ass arm looking like Gilderoy Lockhart's attempt at healing. Abby leaves and drops a hint that they should leave this place by tomorrow as she continues her search for Owen. On my way to the aquarium, I kill 4 more infected before deciding to sprint my ass away to save my supplies. Thankfully, Abby is a strong swimmer because the only way across is through that rough enough current. We enter a beach boat occupied by the deceased with arrows through their heads. As we explore, we come to find out that this ship was heading north along the shore until paranoia took over and someone took it upon themselves to kill people on board who may or may not have been infected by the cordyceps. I ascend to the upper levels to find infected aboard with a new stealthy weapon I take full advantage of until I run out of ammo for it. Finally, we arrive at the aquarium and find Owen hiding out inside a boat he's trying to fix up. He admits to shooting his partner Danny after a scuffle, and while Abby says she can fix it so he can rejoin the wolves, he's like, nah fam, I'm going to Santa Barbara. Abby tries to downplay it, but Owen uses her exact line on her.
It's a lead. I gotta see it through.
He admits he intends to leave Mel behind, then claps back at Abby regarding her treatment of Joel, which causes her to attack him, which is actually a turn on for Owen. After they get their fun in, we cut back to Abby wandering down the hallway at St. Mary's, but when we open the operation room door, we see Yara and Lev executed the way she avoided. Abby wakes up next to Owen feeling guilty to start day 2. We head back to the trailer, but there are distant whistles indicating nearby Seraphites. I immediately fuck up here, forcing myself to kill the 6 scars noisily and almost dying in the process. I approach the trailer to see dead scars outside. Abby nearly joins them as Lev is quick to shoot. She checks on Yara's noodle arm looking far past al dente. The only thing she can think to do is take them to the aquarium to get medical help. To our surprise, both Alice and Mel are there as well, and despite the initial awkwardness, that's a stroke of luck since Mel can diagnose Yara's condition as compartment syndrome, which means that arm's gotta go. They lack proper medical supplies, which necessitates a trip to the hospital, but it'll take too long to get there until Lev offers to escort Abby using Seraphite bridges that'll get us there much faster. On our way out, Owen and Abby exchange a few words about the night before.
I don't care about last night.
Well, I do.
And then we head towards downtown. We do a bit of exploring until we come across a small space loaded with infected. I utilize pipe bombs to kill 5 of them, then save my shotgun for the shambler. We continue climbing further up into the skyscraper when suddenly we're attacked by scars.
It's Lily!
I kill 3 while Lev takes out the other, and it's here we learn that Lev, formerly known as Lily, is being hunted simply for being transgender. We venture further up and kill the scars stationed here, and as I'm gathering supplies, I earn my 2nd death of the game that's frankly some straight up bullshit. We go even further up this damn skyscraper, causing Abby to begin freaking out. We have this sketchy motherfucking bridge we need to cross, which is a nightmare scenario for Abby. Shit, I'm not necessarily afraid of heights, but fuck this thing. Lev is a saint trying to distract Abby here, knowing full well she's losing it.
What's going on between you and your friend Owen? Oh my god, Lev, now? It seemed really awkward.
We drop down to safety, but we can't bask in our bravery quite yet.
Why? Why?
That's why, Abby. I don't think this is up to code, guys. We continue across until Abby loses her balance, and while Lev tries to help, they go hurtling down through the glass and into the pool below. With that stroke of luck comes some bad news, because the lower levels of this building are a horror show. Lev doesn't have a gas mask, so Abby goes looking for one in this spore-ridden zone. Eventually I find one, but we're not alone anymore. I corner myself in this room and spot this absolute moron and use my hunting pistol on, but he will not shut the fuck up and die. That brings 5 more stalkers I let come to me before going back out and giving Lev his mask. We go back inside and descend into the lower floors of the building, which just get worse and worse as we go further down. I love playing as Ellie, but Abby has the best levels in the entire game if you're a horror fan. This particular section has some nice scares in it, but since I've played this before, I know full well to watch the walls. We climb down, killing numerous stalkers and clickers along the way until we happen upon a floor with a bloater on it. My attempt at stealth fails since I missed the stalker's head, alerting the clickers and bloater to my location. I quickly dispatch the stalker, then run around avoiding the bloater as I kill the remaining enemies so I can focus on the big boy. Once all is clear, I re-up on supplies when one last fuckface pops out of the wall, creating a mess in my pants. Finally, we emerge from that hellhole only for Lev to point out the much easier path we would have taken if we didn't fall from the sky bridge. Very cool, Lev, thank you. We reach the hospital, but there's way too many wolves, so we leave Lev behind and swim there on our lonesome. She tries to play off her arrival as official business, so we head inside and meet up with Mrs. Hotline Miami, but the others checked in with Isaac to find out Abby went AWOL. They restrain her, but sometime later Nora frees her and states all the supplies she needs have been packed up and shipped out already, except on the lower floors.
It's rough down there.
Nora escorts us, showing a familiar cluttered corridor that I chased Nora through as Ellie. I drop down and wander into a quarantine zone in the depths of the hospital that was ground zero for the first people ever infected in Seattle. We attempt to enter the trauma center, but the door is blocked and lets out a groan.
The fuck is that?
This place has been long abandoned, allowing time for stalkers to grow into the walls while housing a few clickers. I start the generator and get the power going, releasing the clickers into the wild for me to kill, and then down another stalker stowed away in the fungus wall. I arrive in the emergency room only to be greeted by some grotesque stuff. We follow the bloody trail into a parking garage until we locate an ambulance that has all the supplies we need. Thank goodness for small miracles, am I right? No, I'm dead wrong, because there's a deep rumble approaching. The motherfucking Rat King is here, bitches! 20 plus years in the making, the Rat King is a hodgepodge of clickers, stalkers, and bloaters, all molded into one giant horrifying monstrosity. We outrun the chunky boy until it catches up with us and takes an axe to whatever body part that is. We drop down into a flooded basement where we face off against this thing. The Rat King was initially conceived during the development of the first game, but Naughty Dog couldn't find a natural place for it, thus saving it for part 2, based on a real-life phenomenon where multiple rat's tails become intertwined. They built a cage and tied 3 different actors to it to emulate its movements while drawing inspiration from the huddle in the game inside. Using all of my strongest weapons, I keep attacking it until a stalker pulls itself off, knowing damn well what the end result will be. I light the king up with my flamethrower and finish it off with a single shot from my pistol. The lone stalker runs off in the direction I need to go. I head that way and climb into the ceiling where the fucker jumps out at me. This isn't an ordinary stalker either. It's much tougher and has the ability to toss acid bombs like a bloater. I finish it off with my hunting pistol and Abby echoes my sentiments.
Fuck this place.
With the supplies in check, we exit the hospital and take a boat with Lev back to the aquarium. While Mel performs the surgery, we introduce Lev to Alice, who pets a dog for the first time ever. Then we go in and check on Yara, who seems to be doing fine after losing her left arm. After another brief dream, Abby wakes up to Yara and Lev arguing over their mother until Mel comes out to interrupt us dropping eaves on our new friends. She informs us Owen invited them to Santa Barbara too, but Lev doesn't want to leave their mom behind. Mel intends to go too, but...
Not if you come.
Mel proceeds to lay into Abby, who can't even get some time alone to cry it out as Yara comes to check on her and asks if she can help search for Lev. On our search, Alice scares Yara with a fierce bark, signaling it's playtime. I spend several minutes playing fetch with her because of reasons, then continue on until we get some bonding time with Yara, who tells us all about their shitty situation with the scars. Owen lets us know Lev was right down the hallway, so Yara goes to find him, and Abby stays behind to talk with Owen. He wants her to go to Santa Barbara, but as much as it pains her to say no, she does. However, before it can go any further, we hear Yara shouting Lev's name, only to find out he's taking a boat to the Seraphi Island. This prompts Abby and Yara to go to the marina to find another boat to bring him back. Owen tries to come despite Mel's protest, but Abby puts her foot down and tells him to stay put.
Get your priorities straight.
We traverse the terrain with Yara until we hear a firefight going on. We leave Yara behind to check it out, only to get tackled to the ground by Manny, saving Abby's life from the sniper down the street. He updates her on the trespassers in Seattle that have been hunting the wolves. We utilize cover to prevent ourselves from being JFK'd until we're able to duck into a parking garage. The sniper begins shooting the cars we're using as cover to lure the infected to us, so I kill an assortment of them, totaling 11 before we make it to the bridge and force the sniper to move. Manny and I follow him, only catching glimpses of him until he barricades himself in this storefront. We attempt to go in the back way, but Manny backs up a smidge and oh my fucking god, dude. Abby's able to dodge it and makes it inside, but time is short as we hear him enter through the shuttered door, so I sprint to the exit and come face to face with Tommy. Just when it seems he has the upper hand, Yara comes in out of fucking nowhere to stab him, allowing Abby to send him over the edge into the water below. We retrieve a boat and make our way to the Scar's home island, where we're going to get the chance to increase our kill count exponentially as the Seraphites and the WLF go to war with each other. We go through small villages, killing every Scar along the way, tallying up a total of 23 and pushing our kill total over 500. Finally, we enter their house to find their dead mom. Lev needs a little help here. Next step is to leave this island before the real fighting breaks out, so we sneak through the back alleys until we're surprised by a wolf who shoots Yara and sends Abby into rage mode. Abby grabs Lev to shield him from the wolves, but then Isaac approaches, ready to shoot Abby until Yara saves her with one final act. That provides the distraction we need to escape, but Lev is rightfully freaking out. He claims Abby's people killed her, and with one line, Abby has officially become Lev's Joel.
You're my people.
It's here things really pick up, as now both factions will shoot us on sight. I kill all 12 wolves in Yara's name as we close in on the burning Seraphite capital, Haven. I add a few more Scars and wolves to the count before coming across a horse looking for a new new rider. We hop on, kill some more until it bucks us off, forcing us to continue the killing spree on foot. In order to get to the docks, we need to run through this burning building, and it's here I completely forgot about the game's balancing feature and fall to my death. A portion of the building collapses, trapping Abby under it as we watch this big ass motherfucker attack Lev. This gives Abby the motivation she needs to crawl her ass out of there and fight this superhuman schmuck. After an intense brutal fight, we finally down him and find a boat. As Lev's former home burns, we arrive back at the aquarium to find things mysteriously quiet. We find Alice dead, realizing that was the dog Ellie killed during her visit and why I had to spend several minutes playing fetch with her earlier. We round the corner to find a fuck ton of blood seeping under the door where Owen and Mel lie dead on the ground. With all of Abby's friends murdered, she falls to the ground crying, but Lev finds Ellie's map and shows it to her. We cut to outside the theater where Abby and Lev find a way inside and work their way down to the lobby. We locate Tommy talking to himself, so Abby kicks him to the ground, which brings Jesse and Ellie running from the room over. Now we pick up where we left off, and just when it seems like she's about to shoot Ellie, Tommy jumps up to try to take Abby's gun from her. Lev takes a note out of the Skyrim book and shoots him in the knee with an arrow, while Abby follows that up with a shot to the head. This gives Ellie the time she needs to escape into the theater. Abby follows and gets ambushed by Ellie, but a little rotten wood ain't gonna knock Abby's beefy ass out. She throws Ellie to the ground, starting another stalking sequence similar to the David fight in the first game, except this time I really don't want to hurt the other person. Naughty Dog did something brilliant here, because by this point we saw all the crap Abby went through and didn't want either of these women to die. In this first phase, you need to be silent and sneak up behind Ellie. I did just that, but right before I pressed the button, the prompt disappeared and Ellie got her revenge. I reload the game and succeed this time and send both of us crashing through the floor. We continue the fight down here, and after dodging her shotgun blast, I'm able to nail her with a bottle and start choking her. Jesus Christ, stop it, please. Not like that, guys, come on. Ellie begins laying down traps, so I take my chance to finish this as she's in the middle of that only to fucking obliterate us both. I die once more before finally finishing it. Abby starts beating on Ellie until Dina comes in screaming like a banshee, slashing Abby up, but then Lev puts an arrow through her, giving Abby the opportunity to bash her up too. Ellie pleads with her, stating she's pregnant, and I love Dina, but Ellie, you gotta know your audience here. You just killed a pregnant person. Thank God for Lev though, as he stops Abby from slitting Dina's throat and spares Ellie.
Don't ever let me see you again.
We fast forward several months to find Ellie, Dina, and Jesse's baby JJ fulfilling Dina's wish to live in a farmhouse outside of Jackson. After flirting with Dina for a bit, we're tasked with getting the sheep into the barn. We spot the lamb hiding behind a shovel, and when it takes off, the sound triggers Ellie's PTSD, causing a hallucination that Dina has to pull her out of. We cut to Ellie hunting for food, and when she arrives back home, a horse is tied up outside. We find Tommy waiting for us inside, sporting a limp and blinded in his right eye after Abby shot him. He comes with news of Abby's location in California, and when Ellie shows disinterest in going, he guilts her and leaves. However, Ellie can't sleep, so we wake the whole house up with a little bit of guitar. We flash back to the night before this whole mess started, with Ellie watching Dina getting her dance on. Jesse keeps Ellie company until Dina pulls Ellie onto the dance floor, and we see the kiss that triggered this fucking bigot. Joel comes in for the save, but Ellie is pissed he got involved when we flip back to the farmhouse and Ellie loading up her backpack. Dina comes downstairs to try to get Ellie to stay, but despite threatening to leave her, Ellie still goes. We take over as Abby again, with Lev now rocking hair. We're looking for a possible Firefly base at 2425 Constance. There's a couple runners and a clicker I add to the count. We spot an unfriendly looking tag on a nearby truck, then head to 2425 and enter through the garage. We explore until we find a hidden basement that's been left behind. There's a radio we use to check various frequencies until we strike gold and discover the Fireflies are stationed on Catalina Island. It's time for the fucking Catalina wine mixer, but some assholes are waiting right outside and jump us. They tie us up with unknown motivation, and we cut back to Ellie on Abby's boat. I get off the beach and begin the final leg of our journey that includes a lot of kills. I nab my first one and take out the next few before entering this house. It's quiet now, but as soon as I drop down, the infected come out of the woodwork, and what follows is just pure chaos, including one shambler trucking the other. Beyond the house are a handful of runners that can't reach my location, so I snipe them with my bow and continue forward where a trap snags my ankle and leaves Ellie upside down after being impaled by the tree. The guys we saw attack Abby and Lev come to collect their prize and almost get bitten by the clicker caught nearby.
Looks like you shit your pants.
The guy, played by Logic, pulls Ellie up and brings her close to the clicker, thinking the threat of a bite will scare her, but tricks on you bitch as Ellie pulls them closer, allowing the clicker to kill him, while Ellie uses his gun to shoot the legs of the other fool, who is played by Laura Bailey's husband Travis Willingham. He gives us all the info we need to find Abby, so she shoots him and patches herself up to go find her. We run into our first group of rattlers I waste 0 time in killing. Beyond here are a few more I lure to my location atop the train so I can pick them off. We eventually find their compound and enter through a hole in the fence where we see they like to keep infected chained up for fun. I show them what real fun looks like with a Molotov and proceed to add 36 more rattlers to the count over the course of about 30 minutes. With them gone, we locate some prisoners, but a lone rattler jumps us unsuccessfully and is taken out after Ellie shoves her into the cage, allowing the prisoners to kill her and free themselves. They let Ellie know that Abby is down on the beach in a place called the Pillars. We find it, revealing just how fucked up the rattlers truly were, and find Abby, who is now much skinnier than she was before. Ellie cuts her down, much to the confusion of Abby, whose priority is Lev. Ellie watches as Abby grabs Lev and invites her to go to the boats with her, and just as it seems like Ellie is going to take her own boat and part ways, she has visions of Joel's death. Ellie approaches Abby and throws her to the ground, but Abby refuses to fight until Ellie threatens to kill Lev. This fight is a painful one because both women are so fucked up already and deserve their peace, but they brutalize each other instead. Eventually, Ellie begins drowning Abby until she gets a brief flashback of Joel and lets her go. She urges Abby and Lev to leave while she's left on the beach nursing her 2 missing fingers. We cut to Ellie arriving at the farmhouse that's now empty outside of her own belongings. She sits down to play the guitar Joel gave her, but now missing 2 fingers, she finds it difficult to play. Then we're shown the flashback that stopped Ellie from killing Abby. Joel reiterates he'd make the decision to save Ellie every time, while she says she won't be able to forgive him for that, but she'd like to try. This is arguably the main driver for Ellie as she seeks her revenge because Abby robbed her of her chance to mend things with Joel, and that eats away at her. We cut back to Ellie, who leaves her guitar behind and begins her walk back to Jackson as we walk into the final numbers. I finished the game with 358 kills and 0 deaths as Ellie, whereas with Abby I totaled 267 kills and 6 deaths. Combined, that brings my overall kill count to 625, which makes my kill-death ratio 104.2. I finished the game in 24 hours and 19 minutes, giving us a kill on average every 2.34 minutes and a death just about every 4 hours. The Last of Us Part 2 was released in 2020 and quickly became one of my favorite games of all time. I'm a big fan of the gameplay, and while the plot doesn't work for some, I loved the way Naughty Dog forced us into the shoes of the antagonist. By the end, I wanted both Abby and Ellie to survive, audibly pleading for Ellie to stop during the final fight by the boats. Part 3 is likely a long way out, but I can't wait for that release whenever it comes. In the meantime, this series is finished, which allows me to move on to shorter games. I promise I'll get back into Resident Evil soon, but next up is A Plague Tale. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.